Baby Frankenstein's keeping his sign. He said he'll find
So we're good to go, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
I want to welcome everybody to tonight's special meeting of the Bethel Board of Finance on this Monday, November 18th. Please join me in beginning the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have just two items on the agenda tonight. Before we jump into them, I do want to recognize Claudia for her efforts on the board over the last few years. You know, we on this board disagree on a lot of things, but we are all in agreement that we're here to try to do the best that we can for the town of Bethel. And we all know on this board it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and that kind of dedication should be recognized and acknowledged. So thank you very much, Claudia. Moving on to the first agenda item, consideration of appropriation of fund balance to capital non-recurring account. What I'd like to do is maybe start by, for purposes of discussion, making a motion, hopefully it gets seconded, and then we'll discuss. All right, and the motion on the first item is this: consistent with the recommendation made by the Board of Selectmen at its special meeting held Friday, November 15th, 2019, this Board of Finance recommends for approval at a special town meeting, as scheduled by the Board of Selectmen, that the town allocate and transfer $500,000 from the general fund for the 2018-2019 fiscal year to the capital non-recurring account. Is there a second?
Second, I will second. Okay.
Just give this kind of verbatim. So any discussion?
What's the fund balance at?
Dollar amount, after we did the last week's transfers,
Yep.
we're at $18,956,949.
So this will bring us down.
If we anticipate the increase that we're supposed to get, that I calculated from this year's surplus. So originally it was $18,426,000. I'm figuring about 2.7 this year. That gives us 21,096. We took out 2,140,000 last week, so we're down to 18,956.
And Bob, presumably that's still in the safety range of percentage as required by the...
So, yeah, originally at 6/30/18, we were at 25%. The two changes we made last week, plus the 2.7, we're at 25.4. This will bring us down, if we do the two motions tonight of $1,490,000, will bring us down to $17,466,000 or 23.4% on the 6/30/19 expenditures. If you look at it with the current expenditures, then it comes down to about 22.4%, still well above what the rating companies look for. But what has to be added to that is any potential surplus from this year's, so, if there is any.
So with this transfer, what would that put the capital non-recurring balance at?
So, what was the question?
If you transfer the 500,000 into the capital non-recurring, how much would that make in that account? Would that add to, or would that, if you add it to what's in there now?
Well, you're gonna be adding 500,000 to that account, so it's gonna be somewhere around 950,000.
Okay.
What's the number now, Brad?
I'm trying to pull it up. I think it's down to like 330 because
330? So 830.
Radios.
Because, sorry, Brad?
The radios that were approved at the last meeting.
Okay, so that makes it what?
Let me see if I can get you an actual number. So the balance before this is around 330,000. So bring it up to 830,000.
Okay, so here's my other question. So we got the 285 that we put into that capital non-recurring, from the high school thing, the high school refund. Remember that came at the end of the year,
Yeah, we didn't put it in capital non-recurring.
I thought we put that, I thought we transferred that to the capital non-recurring, maybe I'm wrong, I thought that that was part of it, was to take it from the, okay.
No,
Where
we
did that
transferred it
285 go?
into the
'Cause I'm-
debt service and short-term debt.
Okay, so what's the plan with this? Is this gonna be, you're gonna transfer this to the non-recurring, 500,000, and then you're gonna pay down the balance of short-term debt with the, out of the fund balance?
There's two different motions here.
I understand.
Yeah, so you transferring 500,000 to capital non-recurring.
Okay, and so the point of that is to what? Just make sure it's got money in it? I mean.
Is that what?
Look, the Board
I
of.
can't hear you.
I know. The Board of Selectmen made a recommendation to transfer that into the capital non-recurring.
Correct.
And so is that something that you're taking from the general fund in order to finance things that will come out of the capital non-recurring?
Well, you know that we have a bunch of capital items, maybe more than what we currently have. So, and there's always capital needs during the course of the year, so that's where the money will be funded from. Any additional emergency items that come up, any, like the radios last week that we had to buy, things like that.
I understand. So if we're down to 17,466,000, what if there's a giant emergency like boilers, for example? Not that there will be boilers, but something very large. Would you bond that money?
You could use the capital non-recurring, the 500,000. You could use the fund balance, as long as we stay within 20%, or you can do short-term debt.
But it's 22.4% if everything goes the way that you're proposing. So,
Well, I think I understand, but just make sure I do. Let's put the hypothetical out there that now the boilers at the municipal center blow up, and we need $1 million, right? I think that's your
yeah,
background.
although they did blow up about 6 years ago, but, okay.
Something else. We could use this 500,000. We're really just allocating it from fund balance to capital non-recurring. I would say primarily for the purposes of keeping it out of fund balance, so that when the state of Connecticut goes and reviews fund balance for purposes of matching funds, they don't see that our fund balance is so much higher.
Okay, so maybe this is elementary, or I should know this, but not a finance person, remember, that
Understood.
you're putting, yeah, well, you told me that. The 500,000, why would we have that as part of the budget process to actually vote on the capital non-recurring, how much we're gonna fund it with, if in fact, we're just gonna transfer money out of the general fund? Is that a valid question? Do you understand what I'm asking?
I do understand the question.
Bob does. This Bob does.
I'm sorry, you wanted to
I don't
address
think
it?
Bob K. does.
I only hear half of what you're saying.
All right, sorry. It's the way we're set up, I think, because I do have a kind of loud voice.
So, yeah, we're adding 500,000 to the capital non-recurring.
Right,
at
Bob
this point.
Manfreda, would you please,
Yeah, I think what Cynthia is saying is, rather than taking out a fund balance now, perhaps you build it into the budget process of
I'm,
the following
I'm
years.
saying, why isn't it in the budget process? Why are we outside of the budget process right now? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and it's.
I think we have to get Cynthia to a point where our capital non-recurring is at a point where we can support these little projects, so we don't have to borrow the money. I think.
I understand that.
Paying, using our own money rather than borrowing short-term and paying whatever the interest is on that, just doesn't make sense, because we're in a better position now than we were 8 or 10 years ago, and we couldn't do that. And so we built up $10 million short-term. We're able to, except for the 990,000, we're able to pay that down at this point. So we're in very good shape.
Understand that it's nothing to do with your opinion, which is valid. It has to do with the process of the budget.
Well,
Why?
I think still we would add, just like we've done in prior years, 600,000 or 650,000.
And maybe we would. I wouldn't vote to do it,
Okay.
as I did last time. So hence the question. If you're taking it for granted that that is going to be voted and approved, that's what you're banking on. So you're outside of the process of the budget. That's how I see it.
I understand why one would see it that way. Actually, I don't think it is outside the budget process, Cynthia, in that, as you and I have discussed, right? Any capital non-recurring project has to come in front of this board for review and approval. So it really is an accounting adjustment to take reserve out of fund balance that we could use if we need it in the future, and put it in capital non-recurring, a more specific fund balance.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood the budget process, so you're saying that you want to, we voted on keeping the capital non-recurring at a certain level? Because wouldn't that, I mean, I'm not being naive or even, you know, not even trying to be contrary. I'm just trying to ask that question. Did we vote to put whatever we voted, $750,000 into the non-capital recurring? That was the budget plan, that's what you explained to the people. Now we have to put 500 more in. Is that a revolving thing, or is it something that we vote on every year to fund the capital non-recurring?
Sure, every year. Let me answer it at least how I understand it, Bob, and embellish or correct if necessary. Last year, this board voted $620,000 into the capital non-recurring account. And when we begin our deliberations in January, February for fiscal year '21, that account will again be an account that we have to determine how to fund in that fiscal year, separate and apart from what we're doing tonight. What we're doing tonight, again, in agreement with the recommendation from the Board of Selectmen, is taking $500,000 out of the general fund, a general reserve, and putting it into a more specific reserve that says, its heading, capital non-recurring. It's really just moving from one reserve to the next, with the additional benefit of when the state of Connecticut now looks at our fund balance, it's going to be a little bit lower. We know, as the Board of Finance and as risk managers, that $500,000 is still available for us should we need it.
It just makes me wonder then why the kerfuffle last year, and why putting it out to the people, this is the way to go, this, you know, this is what we have to do to pay down our debt, when in fact, it's just, you're just gonna be putting money in there. So why not just take it out of the budget process? There's no point. You're gonna put money in there anyway. Why would you even bring I mean, I'm dead serious.
You know, it may be my not understanding what a kerfuffle is and what you are referring to.
It's like a melee or some sort of, you know, big stew.
I didn't,
A
look, the
tempest,
budget,
if you
the
will.
budget passed with the number in it, so I didn't view that
It's
as
a
a
process
kerfuffle.
question, it has nothing to, well, there was, as far as, you know, you wanted to tell the people that this is the best thing to do,
Mhm.
and the budget failed the first time. So then we adjusted. So all I'm saying is, this takes it out of the process. If you're gonna take money from the general fund, which we have, fair enough, put it in the capital non-recurring, then when you use money out of that, you take more out of the general fund, put it in the capital non-recurring. Why do we vote on putting a certain amount in the capital non-recurring for that year?
Brian?
The only confusion I have is some of this money earmarked for things that we already approved, that we agreed to purchase on the 500?
No.
Well, Bob's shaking his head no, and you're shaking
There's
your head
nothing
yes.
No, I'm saying
No,
no.
he's saying no.
No, she's saying yes, you're saying no, so I'm just trying to figure out the correct
So I was
answer.
saying good question.
Oh,
because
oh, I
had
thought
the
you were
same
saying
question.
yes.
No, I wasn't saying yes, I'm just saying,
Because
I think that's a
I
good
thought the Board of
question.
Selectmen, you had a list of items that you voted on.
And we had many more items under
What?
capital non-recurring than we had funds for.
And Brian,
Right.
which number
I'm
are
on
you
the
referring to?
500.
I
I'm
see.
on the 500. I'm wondering,
Yeah.
is this earmarked for purchases that we had agreed to
No.
in the beginning? So have we already made all the purchases that we plan to out of capital non-recurring?
I don't think so. I think
No.
what Brad is telling us, we still have, what was the number, Brad, 330?
330.
330 in there should some other items come up.
So all I guess I'm asking is, all the approved items, the capital items in the budget that we approved
Yeah.
are gonna be, are already paid for and have been purchased?
No,
No,
So how many-
Not the
let's
ca- the
let's draw the
capital items.
distinction.
the capital,
but not
yes.
capital non-recurring.
Right, but we had talked about using the full amount or whatever, we picked items to be purchased out of capital non-reoccurring. We had a list, I recall it, that we
Yes.
had said that
Moved over.
these are the ones that we're gonna pay out in cap. What I'm asking is, are those items been purchased yet?
No.
Well,
And I don't understand why this is upsetting you, Daleen. It's a fair
Oh, no,
question.
So-
I'm not
so-
good at all.
I'm just saying, all I'm asking is
Everyone seems
what do we
upset.
have earmarked for
So right
capital
now, I mean-
non-reoccurring
Wait,
is
can
what I'm
I
interested in.
please speak for a minute? Brian, I was agreeing with you, it's a good question, I'm not upset in any
Okay.
way. My concern is this. We had many more items in capital non-recurring than we had the funds for. So there's obviously and I don't know about you guys, but I haven't like appropriated much on the capital non-recurring list this year. Have you voted for it? There's
Voted for
still
what?
things that are on the list that people
Yeah.
wanted,
My
right?
question is, there's
So
nothing
we're talking
nefarious in my
about-
question. My
No,
So,
question
mine
is-
Brian,
is-
I mean, this may answer your question. I mean, you talked about this
Street sweeper, right.
That's been purchased and paid for.
Okay,
And with last week's motion, that's gonna be actually paid for rather than borrowed for.
Right.
Or the fire truck, all right, and the boilers. And now the HVAC at the high school, the $1 million, they're working on the plans. They haven't brought in, I'm not sure if they brought in the boilers yet, but that's in process, but the entire amount hasn't been paid for yet. We will pay for it,
So,
within the next couple of
So-
months.
let me just add to that, because I'm trying to be responsive to what I think is your question. We, during the budget season, said it is best to have purchases made out of cash,
Right.
not debt. And we put $620,000 into capital non-recurring, and we said at the time, we know about a list of things that we're gonna have to buy. The Class 8 big truck, right, was one of them. The Bethel High School track resurfacing.
Right.
The Stony Hill Fire Department. All of those things came out of capital non-recurring. What the Board of Selectmen addressed recently were capital items, not capital non-recurring items. And those did not come out of the budget. We want to take them out of fund
at the
balance.
last meeting, we were talking about paying back capital non-reoccurring with some of the money we approved, correct? Was how it was explained.
Those were capital items.
I understand it's a capital item.
No, but there were there's capital and capital non-recurring, there's two different categories.
Yeah, I don't.
So, we had talked about we needed the money to pay ourselves back. I can pull the tape if I'm confused, and that's all I'm saying is, we said we needed the money to pay ourselves back. What did we borrow the money from? Is what I'm saying. Where did that money come from?
We paid for it out of the fund balance. We
So
had the money
needed-
available.
So we needed to approve the thing, so we didn't have to borrow the money to repay the fund balance.
That's
My
right.
question.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, I have a question. So, basically, the way I'm understanding it is, right now, due to a variety of reasons, our fund balance was looking pretty good. So we wanna take 500,000 from that and put it into capital non-recurring, which we have a whole list of items that at some point we'd like to buy outright instead of finance. And then we're taking the 900,000 and paying down short-term debt because we have short-term debt to pay. So I don't wanna say it's like a windfall, but because of good accounting, good collections, good everythings, we have extra money, not extra, but
Available funds.
does that make sense? Am I understanding it correctly?
Right, so I guess just back to my question is what purchases do we have left that we haven't made? You know, we're saying we have a list of items we wanna purchase. All I wanna know is what the items are, so I have an idea on the cost. You know, there's nothing, that's just a simple question, you
And
know.
I think the answer is, right, the answer to that is, we don't know, right, the
Well,
capital.
there may be some items. Do you have anything there?
Well, like, one of the things that board had talked about was paying out of capital non-recurring was a lowboy truck for the highway department.
Okay.
That's like $105,000.
Well,
this
and
month.
one big truck too.
Well, but we
Well, we
already,
did one
we
big
bought
truck,
the big
but you
truck.
talked about doing another one.
Right.
Their ask was for 3 big
So
trucks
that-
and 3
right,
low.
so there's one, are there other items that we approved in capital that we haven't paid for yet, or we haven't purchased?
No.
In capital or capital non-recurring?
Capital
Capital.
non-recurring, they said it's done, that we've already bought everything.
It's the street sweeper. When we looked at fiscal year 19, it's the street sweeper for 230, the high school HVAC for 250, and the Bethel Fire Department Engine 6 for
That came out of
660.
general fund.
Yeah, that's
Not
the,
capital.
that's
You
the
just have to list it.
1,140 from fiscal year
I didn't get
19.
that for you.
Fiscal year 20 is the $1 million for the
But that only
boilers.
has the ones that are
So,
approved.
so it,
I
that,
understand.
that goes back to my question, which is, the town votes on the capital projects, capital, not capital non-recurring, the capital projects, because I know the difference. And they vote on that, they know what's on that list. So now what we're doing is we're appropriating, funds to, well, okay.
No, we're reallocating.
You're reallocating funds, okay, but you're still taking it for, projects that the public have not approved or voted on, capital projects that might come up, is that what it is?
Capital non-recurring projects that the town typically does not vote on.
Right,
So it's within the process, it's not outside of the process.
I understand what you're saying, but so the one that was on the capital, what's left on the capital plan, the capital that the people vote on? Nothing.
We're done. Well, right, we're done with the fiscal year 19, which is those 3 items, and the fiscal year 20, which is the 1 item.
So the lowboy truck for $105,000 is what's on the list that you wanna pay.
Only if it breaks, right? If Bob Dibble comes in and says, the low boy truck broke, I gotta get a new one, that's something we would fund out of capital non-recurring.
So why wouldn't the time to transfer it be when that need occurs?
Because you can't do it then.
You can only do it in a certain time
At
frame.
the- Yes.
Right now?
What's your objection? Because eventually we should just vote on it, I think.
I know eventually, I'm trying to understand it because I understand that we go through a budget process.
Mhm.
And this, to me, on its face, just seems to be outside of the process to me. I know there's probably many accounting reasons that we're doing it. And because we have extra money, which I don't think extra money are words I would put together, but, so, you know, I'm just trying to understand it. So basically, you can vote, do as you like.
Can I ask a question about capital non-recurring before we vote though? So there was a list, it was a pretty long list of things that could have gone into capital non-recurring. We did not, as part of our budget process, say we would do A, B, and C. We said these are things that should come out of capital non-recurring. And the departments come to us and ask us for the money, right? And so we didn't decide on the set of things that we would do prior to them coming to ask us, correct?
I'm pretty sure
That's
we
right.
transferred items from the capital to the capital non-recurring. I'm pretty sure that happened,
We,
didn't it?
well.
From capital to capital non-recurring?
Yes.
No.
Well, during the budget process, I think we did, right? During the
Yes,
budget
we
Well,
did.
I
process,
mean,
the Board of
when you're looking
Selectmen-
at the entire list, you may move items from,
That's what I'm saying,
Well, they went
moving
through
them to capital non-recurring.
but that's not the capital yet. That's just the plan.
Right, during the budget process, if it was fully vetted, right, for example, the proposal from the Board of Selectmen was to buy the 660, or spend the 660 for the fire truck out of borrowings. And we said, no, we're not gonna put them out of borrowings, we're gonna do it out of cash, right? Don't use the credit card, use cash. And during the budget process, we moved that item from capital into capital non-recurring.
Mhm.
Which again, I think that's the appropriate thing to do. I know, we can debate whether credit
No,
card.
I just wanted to know that. Doesn't give me a-
My only concern is this, and I understand, we're saying by taking it, putting into capital non-reoccurring, we're shielding ourselves from the state, which I get. It's almost like the school's 1.5, the 1% thing. My only concern would be is that this money stay in that account unless we come up with emergency needs, would be my point. The voters did approve a budget that had specific items in it.
Yep.
So I'm really fine with the transfer. I
Yeah.
just would prefer to say that it's in there for emergencies, not that we're looking to just purchase extra items and stuff like that. I mean, because the voters approved the budget, and I think maybe that's a simplified thing on what Cynthia's saying. I don't wanna speak for Cynthia.
No, you're right.
So I'm just trying to make it simple. So I'm fine, I understand what you're saying, we don't want the state to look at it and take our money from us, I get it, but, I
But
would
this
just say.
this follows the same process as when you have the 620,000 in the budget,
I get it.
all right? And then the public doesn't know what you're gonna decide what it's gonna be spent on. And here with the 500,000, it's going to a town meeting, and it's gonna be approved just like the budget is approved. Except it's not a referendum, it's a town meeting.
If everyone's okay, I don't wanna do it until we need to do it, but call, get to the point. Were we okay to call the question?
Just call the question.
Okay, so let's vote.
Okay.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, on the
So
record,
how, who
2
made-
nays, just
Yep.
2 nays.
Brian and Cynthia voted no. On the record. Cool. All right. Do you have that, Dion?
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to the second motion.
Just before we do that, can we get at some point a refresher for what was proposed for capital non-recurring?
Yes, and
Matt has it.
Doesn't have to
I
be
have it right
tonight,
here.
but-
It's not just, these are things that were removed from the capital to capital non-recurring. They include 2 trucks, hydraulic equipment for the fire department, SCBA bottles, portable radios for fire. So these are things that were in the list at the budget time, that they're, barring this transfer, we would not have sufficient funds to pay cash for. So this is not just
Wait, but I just
because
asked-
we have extra money,
I was
it's,
saying, I just asked that, and I was told everything was bought, and we didn't know what, all you do was say that, and I probably would have voted
Yeah.
yes,
Okay, no,
that's
that-
all.
he
No,
was referring
Matt
to
went
that.
inside to get the list, I didn't have it with me.
I'm just being honest, I would have
Nobody
voted
had it.
yes if I had it.
Doesn't
So that's
matter.
fine.
But, yeah, we'll give
Well,
you
Well, do
guys.
you wanna change your vote, given that you just heard the list?
Yeah, I'll vote yes, that's all I really wanted, was the list, I just wanted to know what we had earmarked for the money,
I-
that makes it a lot easier
I thought
for me.
those bottles came up recently, but I could be wrong. but-
So, could you just ask for the vote again, just so that we can do it on the
Sure,
record?
just to confirm the vote, all again, in support of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now it's unanimous. Good discussion, I thought that was helpful. All right, second motion. I'd like to kind of follow the same process, make the motion, hopefully we get a second discussion, and we'll vote. Consistent with the recommendation made by the Board of Selectmen at its special meeting held on Friday, November 15th, 2019, this board recommends for approval at a special town meeting as scheduled by the Board of Selectmen, that the town allocate and transfer $990,000 from the general fund for the 2018-2019 fiscal year to the debt service account to pay down short-term debt.
I'll second.
Right. The intro string, Dion, is the same as the intro string. Okay. Did you get the second? Okay. Discussion.
So what is our short-term debt right now? Does that pay it off completely? Or nine-
15,990,000.
Could you say that again, please, because I have trouble hearing you?
15,990,000. The
Okay,
15 million is for the renovations of the schools.
okay.
And we're probably gonna have to borrow some more in January or February.
It pays off what we've been referring to as the credit card balance, the $10.5 million of short-term debt that was on the books when this Board of Finance convened.
Bob, how does that put us in a position though, again, if we do have an emergency? And I just wanna, the fund balance is roughly gonna be, I think you said 18 and change, we're predicting whatever.
Well,
but-
if this motion goes through, then you're down, including the anticipated increase this year, you're gonna be down to 17,466,000,
So,
which represents 23.4%.
on the total budget.
Yep, on the budget of 63019. So, the rating companies agencies like somewhere between 18 and 20%. We're 3% higher, so we're okay,
After paying this,
after doing this, yes.
then you still think we're in a position where if we have an emergency.
It would probably take about another 2.5 million to get it to 20%.
You could always borrow again, right? That's.
I don't know, I'm just
reality.
thinking about fire trucks, we don't have a ladder truck in town, there's a lot of stuff going on that people are gonna need and
Yep.
want. I'm sure we're not gonna have no capital requests coming up. you know, so.
Well, right now, the capital requests are coming in, and we're reviewing it, but we're up around $8 million. That never happens. You know, it's almost, you know, you gotta pare it down. You gotta,
I'd say so.
Right, right.
And the board always has the flexibility to re-incur short-term debt. Okay, any more questions? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay. With no other agenda items, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Done. Thank you very much.
I was playing with your rubber band.
I don't think it was mine.
So public safety building is coming in.